This is Darren Sabedra again, Barry News Group, Mercury News, East Bay Times, here with Christian Babcock, Nathan Canilao, heading into week 5 of the high school football season. Got some big games coming up. We got some teams coming off bye weeks, and we've got one team that is undefeated and ranked number 1 in our rankings, but its head coach was not too pleased by last week's performance, particularly from his defense. Nathan Canilao, I'll let you expand on what we're talking about.
Yeah, so I got a chance to give a phone call to head coach Justin Alumbaugh over at De La Salle. De La Salle defeated Grant out of Sacramento, I believe, by 27 points. Pretty comfortable win. They were up big early in the second half, but they did allow a couple scores, and Grant was about, they had the ball with, down 14 or 13, I believe. But De La Salle ended up winning at the end. But Coach Justin Alumbaugh was not pleased with his defense. His defense, through the first 3 games, was perfect. Didn't allow a touchdown, didn't allow a point, but allowed 20 against Grant. And he wasn't pleased. He believed that they kind of, according to him, that he read too many of the headlines. Probably watched our show where we said, "Is this the best De La Salle defense we've seen in years?" But yeah, he really challenged the defense. He talked about how he just felt like they weren't ready, that all week the defense wasn't there. And they're going to need them going into a game against St. Mary's Stockton. That's, probably what he called a flashpoint for their season. It's going to be a big game. It's going to be in Concord. And he's hoping that his defense steps up to the challenge. This is going to be a big week for De La Salle. They play Cathedral Catholic out of San Diego right after this. So he really wants to see a good performance, and I guess we'll see. Like I said, he was unhappy. If you want to read more about it, I'd check out Monday Morning Lights. But to see some of these quotes and to see the tone of Coach Justin Alumbaugh after a big win like that over Grant was very shocking to me. But I think he's trying to light a fire under his defense.
And those 20 points were not in garbage time. I mean, it cut it to 34-20, and Grant actually had the ball early in the third quarter. So those 3 touchdowns came at a point when the game was not completely out of reach. Very interesting comments from Coach Alumbaugh. We'll see how De La Salle responds on Friday night. You'll be there in Concord to see them play St. Mary's, which last season lost to De La Salle. I believe the score was 38-35. So as Coach Alumbaugh said in the Monday Morning's Lights item that you wrote, Nathan, St. Mary's is not afraid of De La Salle. So Christian Babcock, we've got 8 WCAL teams coming off bye weeks, getting ready for league play starting Friday night. We got some interesting matchups. Mitty taking on co-defending champion St. Ignatius. We've got undefeated Riordan going to play winless St. Francis, although that the strength of schedule for St. Francis has been kind of off the charts. So it'll be interesting to see how St. Francis responds going into their league opener on Friday. And then on Saturday, we've got Serra traveling up to the Hilltop to play Valley Christian. What are you most looking forward to, Christian, as WCAL opens its league schedule this weekend?
Yeah, I think there's a lot to look forward to. I mean, I think everyone pretty much – I talked to Greg Calcagno at St. Francis and Mike Machado Valley Christian this weekend, just kind of about the pulse of the WCAL, what they think it's going to look like this year. And, I mean, everyone basically has Riordan as their favorite this year. I think that's for good reason. But I think there are a lot of teams who could make some noise in the league race. They both, I think, more or less agreed that the race for second is open, and you never know if Riordan loses a game or two. We saw last year there were some surprising sort of shifts in the league standings. Valley Christian was in front for a while. Riordan kind of slipped up. So there are openings for some of these other teams, and they're all going to have to play each other with the way that league is set up. I think Mitty's looked really good in the early going. SI's had some good performances. They had a big lead on Akalani's and let that slip away. So we'll kind of see. We're going to find out how good a lot of these teams are. Like I said, I don't know. I think Riordan kind of is at a different level, but I think a lot of these other teams could surprise, and I think there are a lot of teams that could knock off Riordan under the right circumstances. So I think it's a really intriguing league race. I think it's very wide open in a lot of regards, and I think it's going to be a good race this year.
I'll ask one question before we get to the picks of both of you guys. We'll start with you, Christian. Will the WCAL champion this season be 7-0 in league play?
Yeah, I've kind of gone over this in my head a few times, and I would lean toward no. This is kind of, reminding me of a Riordan or the field question, which at this point I would probably take Riordan. But, we talked about they have the big game at Serra. I believe in week 11 it would be.
Yeah, end of the season night game.
Yeah, so that's going to be a tough one. I think Serra, Serra's going to have something to say. Valley, they get Valley at home, but, even this week to St. Francis, you mentioned, Darren, they're 0-3, but that is not, I don't think, indicative of how strong this team is. I don't know if they will be the St. Francis of last year, but there are going to be a lot of tests for Riordan. So we're going to see how many of them they pass, and I would lean toward them maybe dropping one, although I think they will ultimately win the league this year.
Nathan?
Yeah, this is Riordan's league to lose. I'm going to go yes, the undefeated. I think Riordan will go undefeated. I believe they will win this league, and I think to do that they will have to go undefeated because I think Serra is going to be right behind them, and you can never count out Valley Christian or St. Francis. So, I think the league winner will end up being undefeated. That's my bold prediction.
I'm going to say 6-1.
I think that's about right.
1 for the league champion, and it will most likely be Riordan. I mean, if they don't win it this year, when are they going to win it? I mean, it's been since 2000, I believe. Looking through the WCAL record book, 25 years. It's kind of a nice number to win their next championship, right?
Yeah, and this is, if I recall correctly, this is Patrick Welsh's 25 years, so there's a little sort of symmetry there. So we'll see if it comes down to the two of them at the end of the year. Should be great. But yeah, I agree with you, Darren. I think 6-1 sounds about right, but I would still call them the heavy favorite to win the
Agree. You guys ready to make some picks?
Yep.
We have a fill-in this week. Mike Lefkow is out, so Glenn Reeves is filling in to take the 4th spot. He submitted his picks just a few minutes ago, so we are ready to roll. We are going to start with a game in Pittsburgh where Marin Catholic, 2 NCS Blue Bloods, Marin Catholic making the visit to Pittsburgh. According to my research, it's the first meeting between the teams in the Max Preps era, maybe the first meeting at all time. I don't know. Hard to tell, given that we don't have the record books pre-2004, but in the last 21 years, these teams have not played. Start with you, Nathan. You're very familiar with Pittsburgh. Are they going to get it done coming off a bye against Marin Catholic?
Yeah, I think the bye is going to help them. Marin Catholic is a really disciplined team. I mean, their record's really deceiving. I think they've lost every game they've been in, and it's been close. I think they had a couple one-point losses, but I still think Pittsburgh at home is just going to be the difference. So give me Pittsburgh.
Christian, you lead the way in the standings. You going to go with an upset, or you taking Pitt?
Nah, I'm going to go with Pitt. It's interesting. Having seen them against Riordan, I think they're a team that, is obviously has a very high floor just with the culture they have, the talent they have. The talent they have out wide especially is pretty freakish. I mean, you look at Kenny Warden, RJ Mosley, those guys, especially Mosley, is just enormous. It was different seeing him in person. But they got speed. I think they're still figuring out their quarterback situation. But I think week by week they're going to get better, and they're already pretty good. So give me Pitt this week.
All right, it'll be a clean sweep because Glenn Reeves is also taking Pittsburgh, and so am I. And the hsratings.com computer says Pitt will win 35-14. Next on the list, this is Redwood Christian at 4-0. I believe this is where Phil Jensen is now teaching at his alma mater, Redwood Christian. They are 4-0. They're going to be at home to play 2-1 Berean Christian. Christian, who's going to win? Is it going to be Redwood Christian, Berean Christian, or Christian Babcock?
Christian Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, we had the Babcock Bowl week 1, I think that was, Woodside versus Westmont. Yep. So I guess it's only fitting we have the Christian Bowl this week. I'm going to go with Berean. I think they've had a good start to the season. I think they got a little more in the tank maybe than what Redwood Christian brings to the table. This is a non-league game, I believe. I don't know much about Redwood Christian. I don't think they're in any of the leagues we previewed, even though they're in San Lorenzo. So I think Berean Christian's had a strong start to the year, so I'm going to go with them.
Nathan?
I'm also going to take Berean Christian, but I do want to shout out Redwood Christian because if I remember correctly, Ignacio Valley last year, they broke their 4 or 5 year losing streak against Redwood Christian, who I believe had started varsity in last season. So for them to be 4-0 is pretty impressive. I'm going to take Berean Christian.
Story on Redwood Christian, especially if they win this week.
I mean, yeah, wow, right? I mean, it's a crazy story, but I do think Berean Christian is just a little bit more talented, so I'll go there.
All right. Glenn Reeves has taken Berean Christian. The computer's taken Berean Christian 31-21. I'm going the other way. I'm going to take Redwood Christian to go to 5-0. So I'm out on a limb on that one, but I'll take the Joseph Dicus role here and go out on a limb. Although I don't think it's that big a limb. I mean, but we'll see. Next one on the list, McClymonds, which the Oakland powerhouse, which has not played a game on the field since September the 5th. Their win over St. Francis. The last week's game was a forfeit win over Santa Cruz, and they had a bye week the week before that. So they're 2-1. They're going to be traveling to 4-0 California, so playing in San Ramon. I'll start with you, Christian. Is Mac going to get it done, or are they going to have a lot of rust on after not playing for 3 weeks?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'll be there to see it. Never been to Cal High, so we'll see what all the fuss is about, why they get to name themselves California High School. But they've had a great start.
Their lights are better than they were when I was there 5 years ago. So
yeah, they've had a great start to the year. I think there could be rust for Mac, but Mac's one of those programs. I think you could just kind of roll the ball out and they'll be ready to go. And I think they will be this time. I think this is going to be a different kind of test for Cal. And I'm definitely going to go with Mac in this one. I think they're going to win maybe by a few scores. So,
Nathan.
I think it's going to be a little bit closer, but I'm also leaning Mac. I think Mac having 2 weeks off, getting to get healthy with that smaller roster, going up against California. I mean, California's they've won, but they've been in some battles these last 4 weeks. So I'm going to take the rest in Mac in this one.
Clean sweep. Reeves is also taking Mac. I'm taking Mac, and the computer has Mac winning 28-12. This next one, Liberty. This could be an NCS playoff preview. Liberty at 3-1, playing Clayton Valley Charter at 2-2. This game will be at Clayton. Big game for both teams. I am going with Liberty. Glenn Reeves is going Clayton Valley. The computer's taking Liberty by 2 touchdowns, 35-21. Nathan, who do you got?
I got Clayton Valley. I don't know really what to make of Liberty after watching them play Los Gatos, but they beat Frontier Bakersfield, which won a state championship last year. So I'm going to go with just the best player on the field. I think that's going to be Jadis Lucky. And, I'm going to take Clayton Valley.
Christian?
Yeah, that's fair, Nathan. I don't remember. I feel like Jadis Lucky had a big game against Liberty last year when they played. I don't know if I'm remembering that. I mean, he had a lot of big games, so that's a safe bet. But I'm going to go with Liberty. I think I got a little spooked by how they did against Los Gatos. And, they're still kind of trying to figure out quarterback without Sage Robertson. But, they've had some good early wins. I think they're a good team. And I think they're a team, whenever you have a team that's figuring out a quarterback situation, if it ever clicks, they could be pretty scary. So I'm going with Liberty this week.
All right. So Liberty for me, Liberty for the computer, Liberty for Christian, and Nathan and Glenn Reeves going with Clayton Valley. We talked about this game at the beginning of the show. Archbishop Riordan 3-0, traveling to St. Francis 0-3. But as we noted earlier, St. Francis' schedule has been crazy tough with losses to Cathedral Catholic San Diego, De La Salle, and McClymonds in a game that could have gone either way. So the Lancers limping in at 0-3, but an extra week to prepare for this Riordan offense. I looked at this game. I think St. Francis's defense could rise to the occasion, but what does that mean? That Riordan's going to score 28 points instead of 48? I don't know if St. Francis has enough offense to keep pace. So I'm taking Riordan. Glenn Reeves is taking Riordan. Christian, who you got?
Yeah, I'll kind of echo what I said about Liberty. I think St. Francis is going to be kind of a work in progress offensively. The run game has not been as explosive so far without Kingston Keana this year. They got his younger brother Motu in there, but I think St. Francis is still figuring some things out. But for me, this is a week Riordan should not play with their food. As Giannis Antetokounmpo would say, this is a game. If Riordan's going to go undefeated, which I think is their goal, they should win this by 20. There's really no reason why they shouldn't. So I think they'll take care of business. I don't know if they'll win by 20, but we'll see. I think this is a good test for them to see if they can just handle business this week.
Nathan?
Yeah, actually, Riordan should win this game by 3 touchdowns. They should. I know St. Francis is tough, and I'm sure they're going to punch first, but this should not be that big of a deal for Riordan to get a win here. So I'm going to take Riordan.
Clean sweep. So Reeves takes Riordan, I take Riordan, and the computer has Riordan winning big 35-3. So this next one on the list, this is a tough one to pick. Tennyson at 3-1, going up against Bishop O'Dowd at 1-3. O'Dowd has also played a very tough schedule, losing last week to Cardinal Newman. I know they played Monte Vista Catholic, not the Monte Vista from Santa Ana, but Monte Vista Catholic also has a very, they're not at the level of Monte Vista Santa Ana, but a very good program out in, is it Chula Vista? We talked about that.
Yeah.
I think it's Chula Vista. So anyhow.
A modern day Catholic, right?
Yeah, modern day Catholic. Yep. So, and Tennyson's 3-1. We'll start with Nathan. Who you got in this one?
Yeah, I think what Tennyson's being able to do is actually pretty impressive. They lost their best player to the transfer portal, and they're still 3-1. But I'm going to take O'Dowd. I mean, O'Dowd's been down, but I just think the talent and the coaching is going to be the edge here.
Christian?
Yeah, I know O'Dowd surprised me a few times last year, and I'm going to try to avoid having that happen again. So I'm going to go with them. I mean, Hardy Nickerson, he runs a good program over there. I think they're in a good spot to take this one.
All right, this is a clean sweep for O'Dowd. Reeves also taking O'Dowd. I'm taking O'Dowd, and the computer says O'Dowd's going to win 21-19. So a tight one. This next one on the list, this is a battle in Fremont. They call it, I believe, the Battle of the Boulevard, Battle of Fremont Boulevard. Both of these schools are on Fremont Boulevard, separated by about 3 miles. So American at 2-1. Playing Washington Fremont 2-1. Game's going to be at TAC Fedena Stadium at Washington Fremont, which is the district field, so it's a home field for both teams. I'll start with you, Christian. Who's going to win, American or Washington at Fremont?
Yeah, Darren, I think I'm going to go with your Huskies.
Okay.
This looks like a coin flip game. I know it's a shared stadium, but I was kind of surprised to see how they've done this year, and I think they got this one. So I'm going with the Huskies.
You're going with the Huskies. Nathan, who you got?
Oh, give me American. I don't know much about these teams, but I'm going to take American.
Reeves is going Washington. I'm going Washington, as you know. That's just the school where my daughter went to. And then let's see. The computer says Washington, but this is going to be a barn burner according to the computer. 28-27 for Washington. So, Nathan, you're out on a very, very small limb. I think it's strong enough to hold you. You're not going to.
That makes you feel a little better. Thank you, computer.
All right. We're going to go to the peninsula for the next game, where Hillsdale's at home at 2-2, playing Burlingame 2-2. I'll start. I'm taking Burlingame. Reeves is taking Burlingame. The computer's taking Burlingame 28-6. Nathan, you going to go against us, or you're on board with Burlingame?
No, I got Burlingame. I think they're going to bounce back. They played, I think they
Los Gatos last week.
Los Gatos, right? Yeah, Los Gatos. They lost by 49 points. I think they'll bounce back. They're a good program, so I'll take the Panthers.
And Christian?
Yeah, I like some of what Hillsdale's done in the early going, but I'm not same as before. I'm not going to let myself get spooked if someone gets whooped by Los Gatos, because I think Los Gatos is pretty darn good. So I'm going to go with Burlingame in this one.
All right. Next one. This school has been very impressive so far. Menlo School at 4-0. They're going to be traveling to the East Bay to Walnut Creek specifically to play Northgate. Northgate is 2-2. Christian, is Jack Freehill and the Menlo School Knights going to get it done on the road in Walnut Creek on Friday?
Yeah, I don't really see why not. I mean, they've had some impressive results. They've been climbing in our rankings. I think when you have a senior quarterback, there's always a question of how high that upside could rise. And I think it's really paying off for them. I mean, Jack Freehill's a guy who's been around. He's played well. And I think they could make some noise in the PAL Bay this year. We'll see. I'm not predicting league championship or anything like that. But, yeah, I think Menlo's pretty good this year.
Nathan?
That's a far drive from where they are in Athens to Walnut Creek. But I'm going to take Menlo. I will say this is going to be closer than I think people think. Northgate, if I remember correctly, they kept it close to Clayton Valley last week. So that's pretty big for them. And they're a good team. But I'm going to take Menlo.
All right. Computer says Menlo is going to win 38-17. Clean sweep for Menlo because Reeves and I also are taking the Menlo School Knights to go to 5-0. So next one on the list, San Jose City College will be the site for this game. We're Bellarmine at 2-1, playing Sacred Heart Cathedral 2-1. You look at Bellarmine's 2 wins against Sabedra and Los Altos. I mean, when they made this schedule, that was pretty much the design, right, Christian? I mean, to get a couple of wins.
Yeah, and they had to sweat it out against Sabedra. So we'll see what they do this week.
So they're playing Sacred Heart Cathedral at 2-1. Cathedral's one loss was at Folsom. I'll start with you, Christian. Does Bellarmine have a chance against Sacred Heart Cathedral at home to open WCAL play?
Yeah, I think they have a chance in that, if they force 3 to 4 turnovers, they have a chance, but it's going to take something out of the norm. There's kind of a nice symmetry to this. I'm not sure how Bellarmine got Sacred Heart Cathedral at home 2 years in a row. I don't know what goes into the scheduling there, but that was their last game last year, and they got beat pretty bad. And that's around the time Joseph's first big story on Bellarmine ran. So I think they're on the way back. Being out there, their freshman class does look good. But, those guys aren't going to be seniors for 3 more years. So in the famous words of Thomas Castellanos, they're not there to save them yet. So I'm going with Sacred Heart Cathedral this week.
All right. Nathan?
That's really nice of you, Christian. I think Bellarmine has no chance in this game. I got Sacred Heart Cathedral.
Hey, I did say the seniors aren't there to save them yet. They're 3 years away. So.
And I've got Sacred Heart Cathedral winning as well. Glenn Reeves has Sacred Heart Cathedral, and the computer has Sacred Heart Cathedral winning 34-3. So the Fighting Irish are expected to start WCAL play with a big win. So next on the list, Santa Clara coming off a really rough loss against Wilcox. I believe it was 42-0. It's going to be traveling to Woodside 4-0. I was kind of surprised by the computer's prediction of this game at 48-3. Is Woodside really that good, Christian?
They are very good. Having seen them against Mountain View, I think I think that final score was 41-0. At that point, they hadn't allowed a point, and they'd scored like 85 in their first 2 games. They have a great offense. You don't know where they're hitting you from. The ball will go I think the game I went to, they snapped it to 4 or 5 different players. They will hit you with misdirection. They're physical. I think they're going to have a great year. So I'm definitely going to take Woodside in this one.
Nathan?
Yeah, I'm also taking the house that Julian Edelman built. I'm going to take Woodside.
Hey, Justin Andrews gets a little credit, too. He's got him going out there.
He does have him going. Clean sweep for Woodside. Reeves taking Woodside. I'm taking Woodside, and the computer has Woodside, as we noted, winning 48-3. Next one, Salesian at 3-0, going to be traveling short distance over to Oakland to play Oakland Tech at 1-2. Nathan, does Tech have a chance in this game?
Nah, Salesian's very good. Salesian's very good. They're in our rankings for a reason. They have an explosive offense, and I think the bigger question is if Salesian could get this to a running clock. So I'm going to take the Friday.
Whoa, okay. Christian.
Yeah, Nathan, you're going to have to help me out. Does Elias Obenya, does he do football too, or is it just Carlton?
It's just Carlton Fairley, yeah.
Oh, well, I think Oakland Tech might need Elias to win this one. So I'm definitely going to give Salesian the edge. Good program. I don't think the short trip is going to affect him too much.
Clean sweep for Salesian. Reeves taking Salesian. I'm taking Salesian. And the computer says it's only going to be a 12-point game, Nathan. 26-14.
Interesting.
So,
okay.
We have three more games, all intriguing matchups. This one is going to be in San Francisco, where St. Ignatius at 1-2 will be playing host to Archbishop Mitty 2-1. Common thread between these teams is they both have losses to Acalanes. I'll start with you, Christian. Is SI going to get its WCAL schedule or WCAL season off on the right foot?
That's a good question. I'm not really sure. I think this game's going to be pretty even. This kind of strikes me. Last year, this would have been a classic SI, win at home, maybe a little second half SI comeback magic. But I think this will be a good test for them to see if, what happened last year, if they can repeat it. And I think I said this last week. I've really been impressed with Mitty in the early going. I think they're going to factor into the WCAL race this year, one way or another. So I'm going to give them a slight edge on the road this week.
Taking Mitty on the road, Nathan. Does Christian have it right?
No, I'm taking SI. I think Juwan Lawson, we talked after the Aka game, and he actually already was thinking about this Mitty game, even like it was like 5 minutes after he lost. So I'm going to take SI. I think they have so much speed. That was really clear to me in that Acalanes game. And even though they lost, I mean, just the outside presence, the deep shots. I'm going to take SI in this game.
All right, you're out on the limb again because Reeves is taking Mitty. I'm taking Mitty, and the computer has Mitty winning 31-28. So 2 more games on the list. This next one we talked about earlier in the show, where St. Mary's of Stockton coming in at 3-1. We'll be traveling to Concord to play De La Salle at 4-0. I'm expecting a better performance by the Spartans defense on Friday night. I'm taking the Spartans. Reeves is taking the Spartans. Nathan, who you got?
Yeah, I think the Spartans are going to win this one big. I think their defense is going to step up. I think they're going to allow 10 points. That's my prediction. St. Mary's could score, so I'm not going to disrespect them like that. But I think De La Salle is going to be fired up for this game.
Christian, is St. Mary's going to score more than 10 points in this game?
Yeah, I think they will, although I will apply overall the Acalanes win sprint principle to this. If you're that mad at your team after a big win, obviously they let it slip away a little bit. I think De La Salle will be motivated and focused this week. I think Justin Alumbaugh thought last week was sort of a teaching moment, trying not to let them get too high. And I think, this game was close last year in Stockton, but I think De La Salle, the strength of that program is going to take care of business this week.
So we got a clean sweep for De La Salle, with Reeves also taking the Spartans, and the computer has De La Salle winning 48-21. So the computer thinks St. Mary's is going to score 3 touchdowns in this one. Last one on the list is a Saturday night game, 6:00 kick at Valley Christian, where Serra at 0-3, but like St. Francis has played a crazy schedule, probably even crazy. I think even crazier than St. Francis, right? With St. John Bosco, De La Salle, and Folsom. And then Valley Christian coming in at 2-1 with their one loss being at Salinas, where it's never easy to play down in the pit in Salinas. And that was a tight game that Valley lost. So, Nathan, is Valley Christian going to win at home on Saturday against Serra?
Yes, I think so. I got Valley Christian. I think they're a solid team. I actually do think that loss to Salinas is going to help them. And yeah, coming off a bye, I think this is a really talented team. This is a dark horse to me to win the WCAL. I think they're really talented. So I'm going to take Valley in this one.
Christian?
Yeah, I'm a little more skeptical. I mean, I think Serra has really tested itself against the best. I mean, Darren, you basically laid it out. You could argue they've played the best team in NorCal, the best team in Sac Joaquin, and certainly one of the best teams in the southern section, if not the absolute best. So that's a pretty good row of non-league opponents. I would give Valley Christian the edge at quarterback. I think Rome Leota Pritchard, as a sophomore, he was already good as a freshman. But I think the strength of that Serra program, I think their running game is for real. And I think they have a better chance to control this game on the ground. So I'm going to go with Serra.
All right. Nathan, you're once again out on a limb because Reeves is going Serra. I'm going Serra. And the computer has Serra winning 35-21. So that is it for the 15 games that we're picking this week. Any closing comments? We'll start with Nathan. Anything you want to say before we wrap up?
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to Hayward High. I know that they beat two state champions early this year. They played a really tough schedule. I believe they're playing San Ramon Valley this week. I think that's going to be a team to watch going forward in terms of we saw Moreau sneak into the NCS playoffs last year, and they won a state title. They had a great run to the state title. I'm feeling those same vibes from the public school down the way at Hayward High. So I think the team to watch down there.
Christian, I'm guessing you want to give a shout out to a team you saw last week win a crazy game.
Yeah, for sure. I should mention, Willow Glen Christopher, excuse me. That was an incredible game. I mean, I think for Willow Glen, obviously Christopher's a little different this year without Jackson Robinson. But to win that game, they needed special teams. It was a whole team effort. But Oscar Caballero, they got those boys are playing well. I mean, they went undefeated last year. They won't this year because they played 3 different A-League opponents, in the non-league. But they're I see no reason why they won't repeat. And I think after last year getting bounced in the first round of the playoffs, they still have kind of that chip on their shoulder. So really good program down there in Willow Glen, and very impressive stuff what they're doing.
Very good. Check us out, mercurynews.com, eastbaytimes.com. Sign up for that digital subscription. And thanks, as always, for watching.